Welcome back to My Uncomplicated Life. It's your girl Terry back with another video. So, for lunch today, I have my organic green juice. I have this rice blend. I believe it has wild rice, pumpkin seeds, lentils, butternut squash, and spinach. Oh, it's really good. I have these vegan chicken strips or tenders. I have blue corn tortilla chips with blueberries and a side of tomato and corn salsa. And it's another salsa as well. I don't remember the name of it, but I think it's like a green, like verde, which is green in Spanish, type of salsa, and it's spicy. So yeah, about to dig in. Today, we are talking about credit scores and what percentages play a factor into a credit score, the different categories and that type of thing. So, the first few parts of this finance series, because this is part 6, you guys. So the first few parts were about, budgeting, debt to income ratio, uh, all these savings, all these various finance terms. So I encourage you, even before you continue watching this video, you can go back to those first and then come here. If not, you can stay here, chill out, vibe out, watch this video, and then go to the others if you feel led to. So the most important percentage that goes into your credit score, your FICO credit score, is payment history. Out of the 100%, payment history is worth 35% of each of our credit scores. So basically, even on myfico.com, when I'm looking at it, it's talking about how lenders, people who lend out things, they want to know like how your track record is with being able to pay off things and paying them off on time. And so they want to know how much risk they're willing to take to see, like, is this person going to pay on time? So that's 35% of your credit score. It's very important, as best or as much as possible, not to take out loans unless you know you can pay them back on time, because not paying these things on time can drop your score. This is a huge percentage of the credit score, 35%, the highest percentage. The next percentage is amount owed. An amount owed is worth 30% out of the 100% of credit score. Now it mentions, owing is not the end of the world. If a person has things that they owe, it's good as long as they're paying these things, right? However, it mentions that if the utilization is too high and a person's using like too much of the available credit, they may show like an overextension, and that a person can be at risk of, or a higher risk of, defaulting on what they owe. So it is important to be mindful, not only, with the first percentage I mentioned of not taking out loans unless you know you can pay them back on time, but also not taking out too many at once, especially if they're super high amounts. As much as possible, try to keep those amounts owed low, not too high. The next one is the length of credit history. This is 15% out of the 100%. So it mentions having a longer credit history is good. And it's good because it shows a long span of something. Because let me use an analogy. Imagine if you're trying to understand a person's personality, right? Depending on how close you are to that person, or how vulnerable they are, or how much they open up to you, within a span of 15 years, you may know them more than somebody you just met 2 days ago, right? So, this is what this is saying. Like, it's good to have your line of credit history open for a long time. And that's why they say that credit cards are good. Because credit cards you use, like, usually you want to keep it under like 10% as much as possible, maybe even 30, but under 10% as much as possible. When you use it, so let's say if you have a credit limit of $9,000, you want to keep your utilization of that credit card or that thing under $900 because 900 is 10% of 9,000. So food for thought. Now, it said that length of credit history is not required for a good credit score, but it plays a role into it. And it lists some things on myfico.com to take into account when considering this. They say to think about the age of your oldest credit account. Now, as you're paying off loans and stuff, that credit history is going to be wiped away. But what's better, to still owe and interest rates continue to increase the amount you owe, or just paying it off? Paying it off, right? So that's okay. It may drop your score initially, but it'll go back up. But as far as like credit cards, that is something that you can keep open long. You don't have to use these big amounts on it, but just keep the account open so that it can reflect a good length of credit history. The next percentage is credit mix, 10% of the credit score. And it talks about basically having a different mixture of the types of credit, whether it's credit card, you may have mortgage, you may have a car loan, you may have student loans, just kind of a mixture of things. Not to say that you want to intentionally just go out and get these things per se, but like, whenever you do get them, or if you do need them or whatever, it's cool, to have to, go into that 10%. They say it's not necessary to have every single category. Like, you don't need a retail account and an installment loan and a mortgage. You don't need every single one of them, but just, kind of just a mixture of maybe at least two of them, 10% is new credit. And it talks about, there's a greater risk when a person may open up multiple accounts at once. But if you kind of open it, every so often, so there's not so many new inquiries on your account, then that's pretty good. But yeah, just having new credit in general, 10% of the credit score. So I hope this information in regards to credit scores help. You want to build your credit as soon as you can, to have that credit history as long as you can. Make sure that although you have these credit accounts, that you pay them on time. Try to avoid taking out things that you can't pay on time or that are super high with high interest rates. And be a responsible adult and take care of your responsibilities as best as you can. I know we're all works in progress, and also we all can use more self-discipline, and we all have areas of improvement, right? So none of us ever wants to look down on another person for not having it all together. But we do want to encourage each other to, as best as possible, manage finances well. Manage credit, manage loans, credit cards, mortgages, manage all these things well. And this goes into the previous topic I mentioned in part 1 about not splurging. Because if we go and splurge on like clothes and jewelry and stuff, the ones that we don't need, we may still need some of those things, but when we splurge on the ones that we don't need, we're at risk. We can be at risk of not paying down credit accounts and loans and stuff that need more attention in order to be whether it's debt free or just to build up that savings and emergency fund and create generational wealth. I hope you learned something. Comment below if you did, Take care. See y'all in the next video.